To get my Scara from level 1 to level 10 with 0 books, I'm going to have to figure out a plan from scratch, kill a bunch of enemies, and hope my statue has enough healing because we will be taking lots of damage. Welcome to Homegrown Fujin. That's what I named my Scara. You might be saying, Ree, this is really stupid. Enemies only drop like 5 XP each. And yes, you would be correct. This is really stupid. But enemies don't just drop 5 XP. Normal enemies, such as hilichurls, drop a couple of things. Materials, be them 1, 2, or 3 star, as well as 10 to 20 XP based on level. Elite enemies drop 2, 3, and 4 star materials, and 50 to 60 XP based on level. Getting 1 level on a character with enemies is easy if you're at a breaking point, like from level 39 to 40. But to only level up using enemies is going to take hours. I started this journey on the release of Fontaine, and genuinely, this was such a bad idea because all of my live footage sounds like this.
What is that big crab thing?
However, it did lead me to discover that my Scara was going to die. A lot. And I mean a lot. I truly am the Shanidu of making jokes like this. The little enemies of Fontaine were a nice opening.
You call crushing ants a challenge?
But I wanted bigger fish. After around 2 hours of farming, Fujin was still level 5. And although I knew this was going to be a slog, I thought the early levels would come fast. Catch me being bamboozled when the 10 XP I was gaining did not equal a full level. I then discovered the power of elite enemies. And when I tell you this was a game changer, I went from level 5 to level 7 in about 5 hours. Wait, 5 hours? How is that possible? Elite enemies were nice for XP gain, but they were beefy and did not spawn in huge hordes like hilichurls or treasure hoarders. Defeated, overwhelmed, and crushed, I closed my game and thought that this was the end. It was going to be too difficult to do. I was going to have to spend hundreds of hours on one level. Was I strong enough for this? No, I was not. That night, as I drifted off to bed, Scara came to me and said that I was giving up on him like everyone else.
Worthless as expected.
Was this who I was? Was I just going to give him books and forget about him? Was he going to go into the pot of forgotten characters? No, this isn't me. There had to be another way. As morning arrived, I hopped onto my laptop and did some research. Most enemies fall under 3 categories. Easy and elite, which we have already covered, but there is one more. Boss enemies, which give 200 XP, but only if claimed. I needed an enemy that spawned like an easy enemy, but gave XP like an elite enemy. That's when it came to me. When Sumeru was released, we got a bunch of new enemies, but I wanted to look at one in particular, Mushies. They spawned like an easy enemy, but when electrified or scorched, they became elite enemies and dropped XP accordingly. I made a map of where a lot spawned, added an Electro character to my team, and set off to farm as much as I could. I then noticed that the enemies were no longer dropping materials, and more importantly, XP.
So no
XP.
Why? There seemed to be no explanation for this. The wiki provided me with a kind of answer. It said there existed a limit of how many enemies would be killed. I had reached my cap for the day. This was going to slow down my progress. By how much? Let's find out. If we take the limit of 400 elite enemies per day, that would be 400 times 60 XP, which is 24,000 XP earned in a day. Fujin needs 8,362,650 XP to reach level 90. It would take me about 349 days to get him there. How is it that you can go from level 1 to level 90 in about 30 seconds with books? But to level up from enemies, there existed such a huge limit. I was strongly considering fighting bosses and claiming them, but that would only add about an extra 800 XP a day, and resin seemed to be way more important than a couple hundred XP, and it would only cut down my days by about 11. So ultimately not worth it. I did, however, streamline my farming route and decided the best places to go to hit 400 enemies killed. Introducing your team for the next 346 days, Raiden, Kazuha, Scara, and Zhongli. Raiden to easily apply Electro, and to scare Skara,
What is the situation?
Kazuha for grouping, Zhongli for shields, and Fujin to get those sweet, sweet levels. Each day, to kill the 400 enemies that I needed took roughly 2 hours, and it genuinely is kind of nice to know the task you have to do and to work towards it little by little. It also is genuinely so nice to go back to old places you have explored before. How many of you go to visit the cat in Inazuma, or the robot from Tainari's quest? Probably a lot of you just said, "Oh yeah, I should go check that out after this video ends." And to that I would say yes you should, and thank you for adding that last part. Anyways, Fujin has now hit level 10. This has genuinely been one of the coolest things I've thought up of, and I hope you enjoyed it up to this point. I also just wanted to thank all of my new subscribers. I couldn't even imagine I would ever get to this point. Thank you for 2,000 subscribers. See you in the next one. Bye bye!